Regarding the console port and crossplay, have you given any thought to doing a release branch for PC, sort of like experimental that tracks with console version? So we have not figured this out. What we're gonna do. We don't know if we're gonna do crossplay, and we also don't know how important it will be for us to keep parity with the console version because. So long story short, if you have games that need to be in parity with console versions, that means that you delay everything because you're constantly waiting for all certification processes to go through before you can upload a patch. And we have historically been very much like, as soon as we have a patch, it goes live. Like as soon as we feel confident that like, okay, this doesn't break anything, like it doesn't, completely mess someone over, we push it live, okay? If we're gonna have crossplay and if we're gonna keep parity with console, we cannot do that anymore. Regardless if it's experimental or whatever, like parity is parity. So we don't know what we're gonna do there right now. It might mean that we don't do crossplay, and it might mean that we don't keep parity if we want to keep up the same. So like at least people on PC have get your fixes in quickly, and then we'll also be able to verify the fixes on PC, maybe on console. But this like whole process, like these whole decision making thingies for what that's gonna be like for console has not been made, and it will not be made for quite some time, I think, until we figure out sort of how we're gonna work with like the console version and how we keep it up. We don't necessarily think that we have to have crossplay because it's not like we have a game that requires a lot of players. Like when you have matchmaking games, for instance, it's a lot more important to have parity between console and PC because you're constantly being match-made with other people, and if the more people are playing your game and the more people you can be matched with, the better the game will be. Essentially, we don't really have that problem, or like we don't really need that for our game. So, yeah, that's sort of the gist of that. Not saying that we've made any decisions as to like whether we will do crossplay or not. It might still happen, but there's so much for us to take into consideration when making this decision, and we're not there yet. We haven't. There's still so much. There's a whole road ahead of us that we need to cross before we get to that point. Because we're still sort of trying to figure out like how we update our game and the console game and like that whole workflow and like how we build and ship and all that stuff. So it's a whole thing.
Indeed.